Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my eyeshadow palette collection. You can see here a giant overview of all of my palettes. I will be going into all of the palettes. I'm going to break them down by brand and show them all to you guys. So if you're ready to see my eyeshadow palette collection, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm first going to start off with my Urban Decay collection. So the first one I have here is my Back Talk palette from them. And this palette I had mixed feelings about. Like, I kind of love it, but I also kind of don't. So here is the eyeshadow side of it, and then it also has the face side as well. I will say that I enjoy the face side a little bit more than I do enjoy the eye side. So next I have my Kristen Leanne Kaleidoscope palette. This is one of my favorite palettes from them. I love it. It's so fun, especially those blues right there are just so gorgeous. Next I have the Naked. This is the original Naked palette, which I do know they are discontinuing now. I can't say that I reach for this one all too often, but it definitely is a pretty palette, and I definitely want to keep it in my collection. Next I have the Naked Heat palette. And here is what that one looks like. I'll definitely be reaching into this one a lot more as fall runs around here, because this is like the perfect fall palette. And this one here is probably my favorite Urban Decay palette that I own. This is the Born to Run palette. I just think that this palette is so versatile. You can get so many different looks with it. I really enjoy this. I've used it a bunch, as you can tell. Next I have the Naked 2 palette, and this one is well loved as well. This was actually my first ever high-end eyeshadow palette I ever purchased, and I used the crap out of this thing, and I still use it. And then the next one I have from Urban Decay is the Electric palette. This is another one that I used a bunch. I don't think this one is available anymore, but I always reach into it when I'm trying to do like a crazy fun look. I use this one for Halloween looks and stuff like that. And then the last one I have here from Urban Decay is another one of my favorites. This is the Beached eyeshadow palette, which I really do enjoy. I love the colors in here. This is like my ideal palette, and I think it's super fun, especially with those blues in there. So that is my entire collection of my Urban Decay palettes. The next palettes I'm going to get into are from Tarte. Tarte has one of my favorite brands of eyeshadows. So the first one I have here is the Graveyard Girl collab. This is the Swamp Queen palette. This is such a pretty neutral eyeshadow palette. I really enjoy it. I also really like the blush and the highlight in there. It's just a really pretty palette, and I'm not sure if this one is still available. I think it is, but I'm not positive. The next one I have here is the Styled by Rouge palette. And I remember I asked for this one last Christmas because I wanted it so bad. It's just a really pretty like neutral palette. And it also has a really gorgeous blush in there as well. But I really just love this cranberry shade. I use it all the time. It's such a good little palette. It's also really good for travel. It has a nice mirror on it. Next we have the Tartelette Toasted palette. I have to say I haven't used this one as much as my other Tarte palettes. I still need to reach for it. I'm thinking I'll reach for it more in the fall here. And then the next one we have here, this one is very well loved. This is my Tarteist Pro palette. And here's what that one looks like. It's just a really good staple. It has a lot of neutral tones, but then you also have some really fun like duochrome shades over here. And then the next one we have here is the Be a Mermaid Make Waves eyeshadow palette. I think that's what it's called. Yes, that is what it is called. I'm trying to get it open. Here is what that one looks like. Honestly, I bought this one for the packaging because I think the packaging is just so fun. I really haven't used it all too much. I do think the formula of it is really nice, but I kind of just love the packaging. That's why I keep it. And then this next palette we have here, this is the Make Believe in Yourself palette. This is one of my favorite palettes. I just love the shades in it. They're so fun. I love the shape of this palette. I just think it's different, and I also think the colors in it are just super pigmented. Love this palette. Next we have the Tartelette in Bloom. This is another staple in my collection that I absolutely adore. I've also used a lot. This shade, that first shade there, definitely hitting pan on that one. But it's just a really nice neutral palette. It's definitely a palette I recommend to anyone getting started in makeup. This is definitely a good starter palette. And then next, another one of my absolute favorite palettes ever. This is the Sex Kitten palette. And this one travels with me when I'm going out of town. This one is one that I'll take if I'm going overnight somewhere. It's just a really pretty like neutral palette that you can create an everyday look with. It just has really nice mattes in it that you can create nice looks with. You have this really nice shimmer right here, and I just really enjoyed this palette. It's one of my favorites from them. So next we're gonna get into my Anastasia collection. So the first one I have is my Modern Renaissance. You guys, my Modern Renaissance palette is Probably my most loved palette in my collection. You can see I hit pan on the burnt orange shade. I just really love this palette. You can't go wrong with it. I also recommend this one a bunch. It's just an amazing palette, especially for everyday looks. I love this one in the fall time as well. The next one we have is the Soft Glam palette, and I do really enjoy this one. I won't say that I reach for it as much as other palettes from them, but it definitely has your really nice like neutral shades in it, and anytime you just want to go in and create an easy look, I feel like you can use this palette. The next one I have here is the Self-Made palette. This one is from a while ago and it's unavailable anymore, but this is a really nice palette. I love the shade Pink Champagne. I also really enjoyed this purple one. I haven't reached for this one in a long time, but I definitely should pull it out more often. And then the next one I have is the Norvina palette. This is the newest Anastasia palette, and I do really enjoy this one. I think the shades in it are absolutely beautiful. I love the way the shadows blend. It's just a really nice palette. You have those fun pops of pink and purple in there. And then the next one I have here is the Prism palette, and this is just a fun and unique palette. You have that really nice electric like green shade. I just think it's a fun and a different palette to my collection, so I do keep it for that reason. So next here I have my MAC collection. I did open them all because I knew it was going to be hard to open them on camera, but a lot of these are the MAC and Patrick Star collabs. So this first one here, this is the Play With Me eyeshadow palette. I really like the colors in this one. That blue is so fun. And then this one was their summer collab, and then this one here was the very first collab. This was the winter one, and these are just such good neutral eyeshadows. I think that they're really nice. I think this collection was limited edition, but they're just really neutral shadows. So this one is the Gold Getter one, and then this one is the Glam AF palette. Really enjoy both of those. And then we have the MAC and Aaliyah collab. This one is the Age Ain't Nothing palette, and I won't say that I absolutely love this palette, but I did keep it in my collection because I think that the shades do work really nicely. I just don't know it's a palette that I reach for all that often. And then next we have this one. This is the Heat Stroke palette, another collab with Patrick Star. And then we also have the latest collab with him. This is the Boy About Town bundle, and I really did enjoy this one. I think it's a really nice palette. I love this gold shade right here. So pretty. And then here we have a bunch of my MAC individual eyeshadows. This shade right here, this is my all-time favorite shade ever. And oh, this one's popping out, but I love some of my singles here, so I have just a bunch of them right in here, and that is my MAC collection. So the next few I'm going to show you are from Violet Voss. So I have the Violet Voss and Laura Lee palette. I do love this palette. I think it's so pretty. This first shade, Basic, right here is such a good shade to set the lid. I think that the shades in this one are just super gorgeous. I love that green as well. I use this one quite often. And then we also have the Flamingo eyeshadow palette. This is newer to my collection, and I think it's just such a fun palette. It's very unique as well. You have a lot of really fun shades in here. The shimmers in it are super pretty. And then next we have the Nicole Concealio palette with Violet Voss. It's a really pretty neutral palette, and then you also have some fun duochrome shades. You have that really nice blue shade in there, and I do really enjoy the formula of her shades, which is why I keep these ones in my collection. Next we have my Huda Beauty collection. So I do have the Desert Dusk palette, and I do really enjoy this one. It's really pretty, and the shades in it work really well. The mattes are my favorite in here. I just feel like they perform so nicely on the eyes. The shimmers, I do think you have to build up a bit with this palette, but the mattes in it are what make me reach for this one. It's such a good palette. And then I also have a few of her mini palettes. These are the Obsession palettes. So I have the Coral Obsessions. Love the formula of these mini palettes. Such pretty colors in this one. And then I also have the Electric Obsessions, and this one is so fun. I feel like if you want to create a very fun kind of crazy look, this one is the one I will go to. Absolutely love this blue shade right here. It's one of my favorites. So this next set here is just a bunch of random palettes. So I have here this one from Doll 10, and this is the Master palette. This one is new to me. I haven't really got to try it out too much, so I'm still gonna try this one out. I also have the Spellbound palette from Estelazzi. I did use this one in yesterday's first impression video, and I really like the way it performs. I also have one of my favorite palettes of all time ever. This is the Persona Identity palette. I absolutely adore this palette. I recommend it all the time. The formula of this is just incredible. This is definitely definitely one of my go-to travel palettes as well. I also have the Laura Lee Party Animal palette. I got this one in last month's BoxyCharm. I have to say that this wasn't my favorite formula of eyeshadows. They were okay, but they just weren't my absolute favorite. I also have this one from Crown. This is the Frago palette, and I got this one also in a BoxyCharm, and I actually really enjoyed the formula of this palette. It was really, really nice. And then I have this one. This is the Comet Crush palette, and I believe it's called Steasley. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but the shades in here are so awesome. That green shade is incredible. They perform really, really nicely. The shimmers in this are super, super pigmented. I also have this one from Galani, and this one is such a pretty basic matte palette. It's so, so gorgeous. I feel like you can create so many like really pretty nude looks with this. It is an all matte palette, and then you have like your shimmers down here. It's a really, really nice one. And then I also have this one from Wonder Beauty. This is the Fever palette, and this one is also new to my collection. I've only used it a few times, but here is what it looks like, and it also has a blush and a highlight in there as well. So next we have my Profusion collection. So these first two right here are new to my collection. This one is the Beauty Superstars palette, and this one is like an all over face and eye palette. So we have in here like a eyeliner and a lip and then a brush. I haven't used that yet. We have the eyeshadows right here. Profusion is a really good, affordable brand. And then also on the side, we have like some face palette items there. And then next we have, this one is brand new from them. This is the Pro Pigment palette. And I love, love, love the shades in this one. So, so pretty. I love the pop of pinks. I also have some really like nice neutral shades over here. And then this one is the Mixed Metals Peach palette. This is such a good formula, you guys. I love the Profusion eyeshadows. Just a really nice neutral peachy toned palette. I feel like you can come in here and create just like a really pretty neutral look. And then next we have the Smoky palette from them, and I do like this one as well. And this one is more of like a brown smoky eye if you're going for that sort of look. They do have a darker, smokier version, but I believe I gifted that one to my sister. But this one is a pretty palette. And then lastly, we have the Sienna palette, and I really, really like this one. I've used it a bunch, and this is gonna be one that I'm using a bunch in the fall too, because the shades in it are just perfect for fall. Love this yellow shade right here. So, so pretty. So the next sets I'm going to show you, I have like two of each. So I have first my Too Faced palette. So I have the Natural Eyes palette from them. And I don't know how I don't have more of my Too Faced palettes. I know I've decluttered them, some of them over the years. But this one first is the Natural Eyes. Love this palette. Love the formula of it. Such a gorgeous palette, and it smells so, so good. And then we have the Chocolate Bar palette. This was the first thing I ever purchased from Too Faced, and I still reach for it. Still a good palette. I still recommend it to people. Such a good staple. And then we have a few from ColourPop. I definitely have also decluttered a lot of them, and I didn't include my individual shadows from them. I do have a lot of those. But first we have the Mar palette. This one is new to my collection. I actually just got that from them. Here is what it looks like. And then we also have the Perception palette. This is in collaboration with Makeup Shayla. Absolutely love this palette. I've been using it a bunch. I actually just used it the other day. It's such a pretty palette. And then next I have a few palettes from Stellar Beauty. You can find them at Sephora. I think the shades and also the formula of their eyeshadows are really, really nice. So this one here is the Solar palette. And then we also have the Lunar palette. This one is so gorgeous for like a blue smoky eye. This shade right here, the way their shades are pressed, their shimmers are just so, so buttery. And then I have a few here from Flirt Cosmetics. This one is the Major Metallic Shadows. And I keep these in my collection in case I want a super foiled metallic look. And then I also have the Love is Sweet eyeshadow palette. This one is so cute. It has a lot of pastels in there. It also has a really pretty blue shade. And I just love the actual layout of this palette. I think it's so fun how it says love. And then moving on to some more randoms, I have this one from Buxom. This is the Dolly's Wild Side, and I actually really, really love the formula of their eyeshadows. I don't really see too many people talking about them, but this palette in particular is really, really nice. I also have one of my favorite palettes from Jouer. This is the Skinny Dip palette. The shimmers in this palette, this is like my all-time favorite shimmer palette. I take this with me every single time I go traveling. This shade right here is so, so pretty on the inner corner. They're just super foiled and really, really gorgeous. I also have this one from Becca. This is the Ocean Jewels eyeshadow palette. Again, a really, really pretty palette. And let me see if I can get it open here. Okay, got it open. So this is the Ocean Jewels palette from Becca. I love how they do their eyeshadow palettes like this. I think they're so cute and so pretty. Love this pink shade, like purplish pink shade right here. And then next I have from Pure, this is their Gold Digger palette. And this one is also a eye and a face palette from them. I've had this in my collection for a long time. It's just a pretty palette and I need to reach for it more often. You have like a blush in here, bronzer, a highlight, and then your eyeshadow shades on this side. Also from Sam Marcel, this one is their Luxurious eyeshadow palette, and this one is absolutely beautiful. Look at the shades in here, so gorgeous. Those golds, absolutely beautiful. I need to reach for this one. I'm going to use like it for a fall look. Then we have this palette from Winky Lux. This is the La Fruity eyeshadow palette, and here is what this one looks like. Isn't that a fun palette? I used that one in the summertime. It was so gorgeous, and actually the shades performed really well in this one. Also new from Il Makiage, this one is the multi-dimensional eyeshadow quad, and this one is in Hustler. So let me show you guys what this one looks like. I used this one in a bunch of looks last week because I thought this was so pretty. And just for ultimate smoky eye, I think this is a really great palette for that. Also from Natasha Denona, this is the Holiday palette. This is the Aries palette. And I need to reach for this one more often. This is the only one that I have from Natasha Denona. But the shimmers in this palette, you can even see, they're just so pretty. And then from my Motives Cosmetics, I have the Iconic palette. This one has the eyeshadows on this side. Again, super neutral, really pretty palette. And then on the other side, you have a bronzer and a blush, and then some lip shades, which I just got my nail into, but there are some lip shades over here as well. From Live Glam, this is the Shadow Me Marbled LA palette. Again, really pretty neutral palette. I'm realizing how many neutral palettes I have in my collection that I didn't realize. This one is the Nightingale palette from Pretty Vulgar. I just got this one in my BoxyCharm, so I've yet to really try this one out. I have it set aside to do a tutorial with. And then we have a few here from Charlotte Tilbury. We have the Vintage Vamp palette and then also the Glamour Muse palette. Charlotte Tilbury did send these to me. I will say that they're not like my absolute favorite eyeshadows ever if I can get them open. Here is that first one, and then I don't know, there was just something about the formula of them that was just a little bit harder. The mattes perform really nicely, but the shimmers just didn't blow me away. And they are quite pricey for an eyeshadow quad, but I will probably keep them in my collection. And then we have a few here from Rimmel London. So this first one is the Magnificent Eyes Spice Edition. I have yet to use this one, but I will be using it super soon. It looks really pretty for fall time. And then we also have the Magnificent Eyes Color Edition. So next I have a few from Dose of Colors. I have the Blushings Berries palette, and this one is so gorgeous. I created a bunch of smoky eyes with this one last year because of that black and this deep shade right here. Super good for fall. And then we also have the Eyes Cream palette, and I love this palette. It is so fun. I absolutely love the shade right here, Lavender. I've almost hit pan on it because I've used it so much. Also this one right here, Mint Chip, is just so pretty. I just really like this palette. I don't know if it's still available or not. I think it might be out of stock or it was limited edition, but this was a really good palette. Up next, I have a couple different ones from Carity. So I have the Rosé All Day palette. This one is so gorgeous. We have some pinks in there, some gold. It's just a really nice palette. The formula of this is amazing. And then we also have their matte palette, and this again is super fun, super electric. This one kind of reminds me of my 35B palette from Morphe, or the 34B palette. This one is just like super electric, and I'm definitely gonna go into this one for like Halloween looks as well. And then we have a couple here from IBY Beauty. So I have the City Limits palette. This one is a nice kind of cool toned fall palette that I'll be reaching for. I just really like the shades in this one. I think it's very unique. And then we also have the Desert Vibes palette, and here is what that one looks like, that blue in the corner. My kind of blue. Love this palette as well. Next, we have some from Essence. These ones are newer to my collection. I did just receive them from them. So we have the Spice Up Your Life palette. How gorgeous is this one? So perfect for fall. And then we have the I'm With the Band eyeshadow palette. And then this last one, this one is the Mermaid My Shell Is My Castle palette. And this one is so cute. The packaging on it is absolutely adorable. I do still need to try these ones out. So next we have some more random palettes. These ones are from Wet n Wild. These were a part of their Zodiac collection. So I have the Water, Fire, Earth, and Air palette. And if you guys want to see like a tutorial using these, I do have a review on my channel, but I did really enjoy all of those. And then I have this one from Pixi. This is in collaboration with Chloe Morello. And I haven't used this one all too much. I don't know if honestly if I've ever used this one. I think I have, but we have a really pretty bronzer blush in here, and then some eye shades right here. Also looks like you could maybe use those as like brow powders. I need to put this one on my desk so I can use it because I can't remember if I liked the formula or not. And then I have a few from Deck of Scarlet. So I have this first one here. This is the number 7 edition. This one has that really, really pretty purple shade in there. How gorgeous is this palette? So, so pretty. And the highlights of Deck of Scarlet, you guys, are absolutely like mind-blowingly stunning. They're so gorgeous. And then I also have here some of their individual eyeshadows. So here is like a pan I have of all of their individuals, and these perform so nicely on the eyes, especially the shimmer shades. These are really good. Okay, so over here we have a few more. So this one is from Nomad Cosmetics, and this was sent to me, and this one is just like really large eyeshadow pans. They say you can use these on your face as well. This shade right here, like this purpley shade, is so pretty. And then we have a few from Dominique Cosmetics. So I have the Latte palette, and you guys, this was probably like my favorite palette of the year so far. I love this palette. It goes traveling with me. It is such a good formula. You can create so many looks with just like these few shades, and the shimmers in here are just so, so pigmented, super nice. And then we also have the Lemonade palette. This was her second release. And again, the shades in this are really nice. They do perform really nicely. I don't know that this is like my most reach for it palette. You can see my pajama pants. But it is a pretty palette. I just like this one as well. And then we have this one from Neutrogena. This is the Force of Nature eyeshadow palette, and I do really, really love this one. It's a really good drugstore palette. And then next we have this one from Gorgeous Cosmetics, and isn't this one fun? It again has some really, really nice bright shade. And then I have my KKW and Mario palette. I haven't reached for this one in so long. I need to pick that one up. And then I have this Treasure Chest palette from Mellow Cosmetics, and this one is pretty. I love the yellow shade. And then in the Z palette here, I have some from MBA Cosmetics, just some loose glitters, like some shimmery glitters, and then also this highlight from them. These are such good glitters. Definitely recommend checking theirs out. And then I have here some Z palettes. So I have in here a bunch of my Makeup Geek eyeshadows. These are just like my individual shades from Makeup Geek. And then in here, this one has some of my individual ColourPop shadows, I believe. I put in here, I can't even get it open, but just some individual eyeshadows from ColourPop. And then in this one, I have some of my individuals from Coastal Scents, a few indie brands in here as well. And I think this is a Hoola bronzer, like a mini one that I put in there, and also a banana powder. But yeah, these are just a few of my individuals. So next we have a few from Catherine Cosmetics and also the Balm. So this one here is the Coffee Talk palette, and I just got this one from them, so I still need to try it out. But look at how pretty that one is. And then we also have here the Courage palette, and then also the Confidence palette. And these are really pretty. The eyeshadows in here are super nice. They also have some face colors in here as well. And then here is the other one. Super, super pretty. Love the shades in these. Also love the message behind that brand. And then we have here a few from the Balm. So I have their nude eyeshadow palette. I have yet to try this one. I just got that one. And then also both of these are brand new to me as well. So I have the Alternative Rock Volume 2. Super, super pretty. And then also the Alternative Rock Volume 1. I just got these ones yesterday, so I need to go ahead and try them out. Let me know if you guys want to see a review on these. And then we have a few more randoms here. So this one is from Luminous. This is the nude eyeshadow palette. Here's what that one looks like. We also have this one from Brandy Vici, and this is the Martini palette. I use this one so much in the fall time to create like those really pretty like fall kind of deeper pink red looks. These are so, so pretty in this palette. I also have here from Fenty, this is the Galaxy palette. I can't say that this is like my favorite palette ever. I don't really reach for it all too often. The shimmers are nice, but they're just not my favorite formula. I have this one from Almar Cosmetics. I got this one in a BoxyCharm, if I can get this one open. This was such a pretty palette. I really, really enjoyed the shades in it. The formula of this is amazing. And then I have this one from Lottie London. This is the Shadow Swatch eyeshadow palette. And I don't think I'm going to be able to get this one open, but here's what it looks like. It's a really nice neutral toned eyeshadow palette. Lottie London is an affordable brand, and I thought the shades performed really nicely in this palette. And then lastly, we have here my Morphe collection. So the first one is the Dare to Create 39A palette. Got this one back around the holiday season, and it's such a gorgeous palette. I will say that I don't reach for it as often because of how big it is, but the shades in it perform really, really nicely. I also have here my Jaclyn Hill palette, one of my most loved eyeshadow palettes. I use this one all the time, one of my favorites. This next one here, this one is the 35U palette. And again, this one isn't reached for all too often, but I definitely go in it for a pop of shimmer on the lid. This one here, this is my 35B. Love this one. I've used the heck out of it. It has just a bunch of really fun kind of pops of color. Use this one a lot around like Halloween, or if I want to create like an electric look. I have here the Morphe Kathleen Lights collab. This is a really nice palette, really nice neutral palette. I know that this one was limited edition. I love this green shade in here, so, so pretty. And then I also have this one here. This is new to me. This one is the 15B from Morphe. I just think the shades in this one perform really nicely. I also like the mirror here. And then we also have this one from Morphe. This is the 350, the original. This one was my first ever Morphe palette, and you guys know everyone used to rave about this palette. I don't know why I've kept it because I never reach for it, but it's just a staple. And then I also have here all of the Vault collection from Jaclyn Hill. You guys have all seen these. I've been really, really enjoying these lately in my collection. So we have the Dark Magic right there. We have, this one is the Ring the Alarm. Then you have this last one is the Bling Boss palette. I just really like these palettes. But after that, that is going to do it for my eyeshadow palette collection. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing my collection. Let me know your favorite palette down in the comment section. Do not forget to like and subscribe before you guys go. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, friends.